I recently heard from firsthand an unbelievable story of a young Chabad Hasid that used to go every Friday, to put tefillin on people. And it was in New York, and he had like a little booth in Manhattan, and everybody who passed by, he's like, you Jewish, you want to put tefillin on? Okay, so he called this guy, and the guy says, yeah, I want to, what is this, what is that? He started asking questions, and he put the tefillin on him. The next week, the same guy showed up again, and he's like, I want you to put this thing on me. And he's like, really? He's like, yeah, yes, last time I felt so energized and so amazing, and it changed my entire day, and I want you to put it on me again. Okay, good customer. So he puts him the tefillin on again. And then he came back every week, and he would just stand there and ask the bacher all sorts of questions, and he showed so much interest. And after a couple of weeks or months, I don't remember now the details, he told him, listen, I'm sorry to tell you, but I'm not Jewish. I'm not Jewish. So why did you come every week to put tefillin on? He's like, no, I felt this unbelievable feeling, and I have this desire and this yearn to learn about Judaism, and long story short, he says, I want to convert. I'm really telling you this very short version of the story. But he started a conversion process, and then after a year and a half, whatever it took him, he was converted. And he came back to his parents. He was an only child, and he sat them down. He told them, I have news to tell you, which they were already afraid he's going to start telling them I don't know what. And then he told them, I converted today. So the mom started crying, the father lost it, and he thought they're getting upset because he converted. And he started telling them, listen, it's not what you think, the Jews are real good, and it's not what you've been told, and it's a beautiful religion, and he was starting to advocate Judaism. And at some point the father told him, I know all that. And so he's like, so why are you so upset that I converted? So they basically told him, you didn't have to convert, you're Jewish. We're Jewish, we came out of the camps with unbelievable resentment and hate towards God. So we changed our names, we sent you to Catholic school, we totally renounced our Judaism. So you didn't really have to convert, you were already a Jew. So there are thousands and thousands of people like that all over the world.
Yeah.
And recently I found out that that's a little bit difficult to understand. My great grandfather's brother had a daughter that was kidnapped when she was a little girl. They lived in Lebanon. My father was born in Lebanon. His parents are from Syria. But my great grandfather, he had a brother.
You're Aleppo, from Aleppo.
What's Aleppo?
In Syria.
Khaleb. Yeah.
Aleppo.
So I'm quarter because I'm mishmash. My mother's from Australia and her parents are from Germany and Poland, and so I'm a total salad. So the story was that I found out recently that this relative of mine, which I don't even know how to define her, but my great grandfather's brother's daughter.
Right, was kidnapped.
She was kidnapped at that time in the 20s, maybe before the 20s, I don't remember exactly the time. It was very common that Jewish girls would be kidnapped and sold to these big tribes because they considered the Jewish girls like, I don't know, more pretty or whatever. I don't know what was the reason.
Okay.
And it was like a common thing. And the girl would just disappear. And of course, they looked for her all over the place. They couldn't find her. The traces disappeared. And my family were merchants. They used to import leather and fabrics from South America, and they used to sell it in the Middle East. So they used to travel a lot. So one time a relative found her in Jordan. But she was already sold to some big tribe, and that was like a mob. You can't like come and tell them, give me the child back or bring the police. There's no police there. It's like a mafia. And she was already there. So somewhere out there, it can be now in Lebanon or Jordan or Syria, I don't know. I have cousins and they're Jewish. Imagine she's a Jewish girl, that they got her married, and she has kids and grandkids, and there's thousands, if not hundreds of thousands of Jews scattered all over around us in all the Muslim countries, And some of them know they're Jewish. Some of them don't even know they're Jewish. That's why when the prophet says, that the ones who will destroy you will come out from you, I believe that half of the terrorists that want to slaughter us, they're Jewish. They just were brainwashed since day one. Yeah. And an amazing story, I mean, we're totally getting off the subject, but it's still, everything is good to know. There's an amazing story, and I'm really going to tell you the short version, that there was this rabbi in Tzfat who sits in his shul and he sees not a strange man, but somebody who's new, a new face. Okay, they finish the Friday night service and he tells him, do you have where to eat, your Shabbat meal? He's like, no. He's like, okay, you want to come to our home? He's like, yeah, of course. So he invites him into his home. The guy sits quietly at the end of the table. So the rabbi tries to make some conversation, starts asking him questions, and he tells him, maybe we should sing a song, to make the atmosphere a little bit more comfortable. So he tells him, which song do you want us to sing? So the guy tells him, I want you to sing that song you sang in shul, the Dodi one. He's like, yeah, okay, listen, it's not really a song that we sing in the Shabbat table, man. Fine, we'll sing it. So they start singing Lecha Dodi. So, continue the evening. The rabbi sees he's slowly getting him more pulled in. So he tells him again, let's sing a song. So he says, let's sing that Dodi song again. Like, again? I mean, we just sang it before. He's like, no, I want you to sing that song again. Okay, so they sing again Lecha Dodi. So then the rabbi goes into a conversation with him and he starts telling him, what are you doing here? Where are you from? So he tells him, I'm from Ramallah. He says, oh, I have family there. So the guy tells him, not Ramle, Ramallah. Like, Ramallah? That's in the Palestinian Authority. That's an Arab city. He's like, yes. He's like, what are you doing? He didn't even know how to tell him. What, are you an Arab? So he tells me, I'm from Ramallah. And of course, they're all shocked there. So this guy tells him, listen, I see you're almost about to faint, but let me tell you my story. Since the day I was born, all I heard is that the Jews are our enemies and we have to kill them and we have to slaughter them and drink their blood and they're the disease of the world and they're horrible people. And from day one, all I heard how horrible are the Jews. So a couple months ago, I wanted to see with my own eyes these creatures. And I went out of my village. And you know what I found? Very nice people. Everybody accepted me. Nobody gave me a hard time. Nobody cared if I'm from a village, I'm not from a village. I found a very nice group of people. Everything that I was told was completely the opposite. They weren't hateful, they didn't curse me, they accepted me. So he went back to his village, and I went back to my village, and I told my mom, listen, I want to live with these people, but they're amazing people. They're 10 times more nicer than all the people here. So I told him, are you out of your mind? You can't do that. He's like, no, I want to live with the Jews. So anyways, long story short, she told him, listen, don't tell anyone, because you'll get killed for that, but you're Jewish. I'm Jewish, my mother's Jewish, I came to the village a long time ago, so just know that you're Jewish, but don't tell anyone here. And she said, and if anyone who asks you and you need to show that you're Jewish, here is a picture of the grave of your great-great-grandfather. And he shows the picture to the rabbi and he tells him, this is the picture of my grandfather's great-great-grandfather's grave. The rabbi's looking at the picture and he sees the famous picture of all the graves of the Arizal and the Ramak. Right next to the Arizal is Shlomo Alkabetz, the rabbi who authored the Lecha Dodi. That's his great-great-grandfather. And he says, that's my great-great-grandfather. And that's why every time they heard the Lecha Dodi, he got emotional. And he kept asking them to sing the song. So, and his name was, of course he had an Arab name, but he just goes to show, and this is the short version of the story. I mean, when I heard the story the first time, I was literally tearing. Because this is, imagine how many Jews, there's our organization, Lehava, I think it's called. Yeah. And they go, they say there's about 60,000 women and children that are Jewish in Arab villages. You know, even in Oferet Yitzukah, I don't know if you heard the story that there was like I don't know if it was necessarily a whole platoon, but a group of soldiers, they went into a building and a woman ran out at them with all the explosive on her, and you know, they knew they were about to die, and one of the soldiers screamed Shema Israel, and then the woman, she froze and she was like, don't kill me, I'm Jewish. So of course they took all the explosive off her, they took her to the Shabbat, to the Secret Service, and they found out she's Jewish. She was kidnapped into the I don't know if kidnapped or willingly went in there, and she said, don't take me, my boys are there. So there are hundreds of thousands of Jews in all the Arab countries around us, and all they want to do is kill us. So everywhere you go, whether it's in the Muslim countries around us or in America, there's hundreds of thousands of Jews that they just don't know that they're Jewish. And on the other hand, just think of how many people think they're Jewish and they're not Jewish. 30 years ago, with all the Russian immigrants that came here, 1.5 million people came. So they're estimating about 250,000 were not even Jewish. They just said, okay, a free right to go out of the country, and they just forged documents, and they came to the country. And they're like, oh, this is a great country, let's stay.
The law of return is wrong. It should be any grandparent that was Jewish. But none of them think that they're Jewish. They all say that they're not, but I'm sure that some of them are.
So the problem is right now in our generation that we don't know really who's Jewish or who's not. I mean, the people who can kind of trace their lineage, they know. But unfortunately, after the Holocaust, many lost their roots. So all that was said to understand that we can get all the Jews to do tshuva, but we don't need all the Jews to do tshuva. We just need a very strong group. The Rabbi Shimon Bar Yochai says in the Zohar, all we need is a knishta chada, one group of people that are strong. That's enough. So the whole point of all the 5 last tours in America was to get enough Jews to wake up. And I think it was very successful. I think we were able, one of the first lectures that we put online got over 250,000 views. Wow. So I'm sure we reached a big amount of Jews in North America to realize that, wait a minute, this is not a joke. We can definitely have another Holocaust here. Or we just see in front of our eyes what's going on in the world. This is not such a pretty picture. And I see with my own eyes how so many Jews did tshuva, that you see how everything is like as if the judgment was sweetened. Because the fact that Donald Trump got elected, that's beyond. You see how Kadosh Baruch Hu is deciding what's going to happen in this world. Maybe the redemption will come in a very nice and sweet way. That's what we're praying for. Nobody is wishing Armageddon. And in regards to the military part of it, if you just look at the news, you see the entire world, their whole armies. China has their army in front here, Russia, everybody. It's like as if you only need the first cuckoo to press a button, and that's it. So who wants that? We don't want that. We want the redemption to come nice and soft and easy. And it's all depending on us. And it just goes to show us that if we really want to, exactly like in the miracle of Purim, that we were able to change the decree. That was an open decree that Hamans said, I'm going to kill you all. And the exact same scenario. We were scattered over 127 countries. Now they didn't have internet and technology, and still the tzaddik of the generation was able to reverse the decree, and what was happened is called v'nahafochu. Everything changed. So we also are in the same level right now. I don't know if you read the book or if you saw the lectures. I'm constantly talking about that every generation has a Haman. And we also have a Haman in our generation. And who? The hint that the Talmud gives in the tractate Sanhedrin, it's when it's talking about the coming of Mashiach and the time of the Geulah. There are 2 Tanaim that say that at the time before Mashiach is going to come, they're saying in Aramaic, Yate velo achmine. I don't want to see it and I don't want to be there. How problematic it might be. Now they're not necessarily talking about this is going to be nuclear bombs, but the generation right before Mashiach comes is going to be the most difficult generation. There's going to be kfira, a lot of going against the Kadosh Baruch Hu. The kids and the youth are going to be almost not to be able to control. And, we have a very hard generation. Parnasa is not easy. this generation is very hard. So these two Tanaim, these two sages say, Yate velo achmine, which means I don't want to be there and I don't want to see it. But in those words, there's a very interesting hint. Who is the Haman of the generation? If you take the last word, achmine, and you remove the hey, is chaminai.
Yeah.
And this is the ayat. And that's the ayat. Now, yate, if you take the hey and you add it, is ayatule. Yate, you just said, so the ayatule, chaminai, which is the leader in Iran. Not only us, half the world he wants to destroy. So he's the Haman of the generation, according to the hint we find in the Gemara. And his agenda is to wipe Israel off the map, and not only Israel. They don't like America, they don't like anybody. They want to wipe everybody off the map. So every generation has a Haman. I mean, 75 years ago we had a Haman, and he started doing his job, and Baruch Hashem, with the mercy of the Kadosh Baruch Hu, it was stopped in the middle. But if he wouldn't be stopped, then we wouldn't be sitting here today. So every generation there's a Haman that comes to destroy us. We read it every Pesach in the Haggadah. V'chol davar dor omdim alenu l'chalotenu. Every generation somebody comes to destroy us, and it depends on us if we can sweeten the decree or not. So in our generation, we have enough people that want to destroy us, but Baruch Hashem, we also have enough people who have their head on their shoulders, and they know that if we do tshuva, then we can get out of this exile. And the Kadosh Baruch Hu is making sure that everybody has problems in our generation. We spoke about it the last class. That Hashem makes sure that everybody is pressed to a wall. So one person has problems with parnasah, with their livelihood. Another person can get married. Another person can have kids. Another person, the kids are driving them crazy. Another person is battling a disease. Everybody has problems. There's no such a person that can lift their hand and says, my life is perfect, everything is good. Very rare people can say everything is good. Or they're normal and they say, listen, my life is not that great, but I'm not complaining. But the reality is the Kadosh Baruch Hu is now putting pressure on everybody. Why? So a person was not going to feel comfortable, and when you're not comfortable, then you look up to the heavens and you say, Hashem, help me. So it's only in our hands, and the whole point of this massive campaign that we did is to raise the awareness that people will know, that we're in the doorstep, the Mashiach is here. It's not a fiction, it's not a fairy tale, it's the reality. Exactly, if you go now in a time machine 3,300 years ago, imagine the Bnei Israel in Mitzrayim, and they're in their slavery, they're stuck in their spiritual mud, and then imagine somebody coming and telling them, listen, we're going out, it's the real deal, what they told Abraham and Yitzchak and Yaakov, it's happening. Just try to go into their mind. They were the same people like us, nothing was different, just that they didn't have iPhones. That's it. But they were human beings exactly like us. They had fashion, they had relationships. So they couldn't fathom that it's actually going to happen. And then Moshe Rabbeinu shows up. So now you come and tell an average person, Mashiach is coming. No, cuckoo. You're crazy. It's not coming. So first was to raise the awareness that Mashiach is coming. It's a real thing. And then, okay, how am I preparing? Do I want to be chased out of my house, or do I want the Geulah to come soft? So Baruch Hashem, I see with my own eyes that enough Jews actually did get their act together, and it doesn't mean the person has to become fully religious from top to bottom. That's not the point. Just having the awareness that when I'm doing something wrong, to do tshuva about it, or to at least feel bad that I failed, or to at least to have the fight. And of course, when the more mitzvot you add, can you imagine how many mitzvot were added? That 2 weeks ago they had the Shabbos, the worldwide Shabbos campaign. They know that in one room, they had 6,000 women doing Hafrashat Chalak. Can you imagine the power of it? In South Africa.
That's where it began, in South Africa.
Yeah.
It was the rabbi in South Africa.
Exactly. So can you imagine how many groups of people?
I did it in a room with 600 women. I thought it was a lot.
It's beyond massive.
600. That was here? That was here, yeah.
So all these campaigns that so many people are doing, that's why I always kept saying, because a lot of people say, what is my mitzvah worth? I'm this little person. my mitzvah is really worth something. Me not saying Lashon Hara today is worth anything. Me not lying today. I lie all day long. One time I don't lie. Yeah. A person has a problem with lying. You lie 100 times a day. So today you lie 99 times a day. One time you zipped your mouth. You can't even imagine the weight it has in Shamayim. It can be Lashon Hara, can be lying, can be looking at the wrong direction, stealing, cheating. So the point is that when every Jew feels responsible and saying, I am a big part of the redemption, and if I will now work on myself, I don't have to become super duper Jew. I have to start working on myself. And when I reduce the damage, I have a big part in the redemption. And you can see with your own eyes that literally 2 months ago, it seemed like any second a world war would erupt. The entire Russian Navy is parked in front of us. The entire Navy. Nuclear submarines that can destroy the entire the world. One of the submarines, the Dmitry, it's like the biggest nuclear submarine, has enough nuclear power on it to destroy the world. Which you would think, why do they need it? It's parked here. They're fighting ISIS, a bunch of hooligans jumping up and down. What do you need submarines for that? And the entire Chinese Navy is here. It literally looks like any second it's going to erupt. You know, we live in the north. Every second day we see all the jets flying. Yeah. So sometimes you see one jet. You're like, okay, he's patrolling. Sometimes you see dozens of them.
You hear the UN practicing.
Not only that, when you see all the jets flying backwards and forwards, you know something's happening. Or, you know, the Northern Command is in Tzfat. Some days we see 50 helicopters coming in, out. You see that the helicopters of all the generals. So it literally looked like any second something's going to happen. And behind the scenes, this we don't know of, you know, because the news don't tell you that. But if you would know what's going in Syria, it's like a wasteland. There's nothing there. They destroyed half the place there. So you really see Hashem's intervening, and how the power of good, you know, the special Hasidic word, that a little bit of light diminishes a lot of darkness. We, as a Jewish nation, and it's not only the Jews, even the non-Jews, they start moving away from their idol worship, and they're starting to serve Hashem in the way they're supposed to, which that's already also, you see that it's slowly getting more incorporated. There's hundreds of thousands of Noahites. They're also part of their redemption, and it's our responsibility. And now in Israel it's a little bit harder because we're surrounded with the Jews. But almost any person has some type of connection to a non-Jew, and you see that even the non-Jews have a massive weight here. And that's what the Lubavitcher Rebbe said in the 80s, that we have to get the non-Jews also on board. Yeah. So you really see how the world is like the forces of evil and the forces of good battling each other. And Bezrat Hashem, I'm hoping that this will be the start that the redemption can come good. I mean, I found something amazing that, I mean, not that I'm not into politics and I don't have favor to anyone, but amazingly, when Donald Trump will be inaugurated, Bezrat Hashem, I mean, 2 months, anything can happen, he's going to be 70 years old, 7 months and 7 days. He was born on June 14. So he's going to be 777. 7 years, 7 months and 7 days. And that's in the year 5777. Which there's no coincidence. There's nothing happens by, when I told it to people, it's it's a coincidence. Oh, it's cute. No, it's
spooky.
It's not spooky. It's you see. Now a lot of people told me, oh, so you think Donald Trump is Mashiach? I didn't say that. Even though that the gematria of Donald Trump is gematria of Mashiach ben David, 424.
Well, his daughter is. I'm sorry.
You know, she went to the Rebbe's Ohel to daven that night.
She went to sit to make.
So
there's a good picture of the Rebbe saying.
anytime.
Anytime, Avanka, anytime.
So the thing is that there's no coincidence. I'm not saying Chas v'Shalom Donald Trump is Mashiach, but you can see that there's a connection that when he first of all look at the story with Achashverosh.
Same thing.
Achashverosh, you know, I mean, somebody told me a funny analysis that Donald Trump is Achashverosh and his wife is Vashti because she was a model, and I don't want to continue what else she used to do, and that's the same thing with Vashti. So And it's funny how his daughter converted and Esther came into the palace. We really see mamash the story of Achashverosh.
Was like, could go either way at the flip.
So, and Achashverosh. Exactly. So we don't know how the Geulah can happen. And and we don't know how Hashem has very creative solutions to everything. The point is that there's no coincidence, and it's not by chance, and it's not about being cute. It's amazing hashgacha pratit that the day that he's going to be inaugurated to be the president, he's going to be January 20th. Then he's going to be 70 years, 7 months and 7 days in the year 5777. So there's no coincidence. It's too many things that are falling into place. So the point is that I just see that we are very powerful. And what we did up to now is helping, and what we need to take from that is we need to continue. And we need to understand that our actions and our mitzvot and our thoughts and our Torah is actually working. And if we continue doing that, we will merit to have the redemption very soon, and not only soon, in a very nice way. So that's what we need to take from that. And yes, the American crowds, and in total, there was probably thousands of people physically that came to lectures, and then tens of thousands it's actually hundreds of thousands in views. So you see that it worked. You see that some people, they present this in a very scary way. So people will get scared. And sometimes, some people, it works on them. I mean, if one of the videos that we did about the coming of Mashiach, the 2-minute intro, it looks like Armageddon. Missiles and nuclear bombs and earthquakes, and the 2-minute video. And when people ask me, why did you do such a harsh intro? So I said, because we need some drama to get people to want to listen. If I would make like a nice violin, okay, another lecture. You see, half the world destroyed. Okay, I want to listen to this. But Baruch Hashem, I feel it was successful. It was definitely worth the time to going and traveling in so many different lectures. Bezrat Hashem, the point to take from that the Kadosh Baruch Hu can do like that, and hafochu, and it seems like everything is already lined up and organized. The Kadosh Baruch Hu can do whatever he wants. If he wants somebody to go cuckoo and press a button, that's ready too. And if he wants it to happen good. Now, I don't think necessarily that I don't know how Trump is going to start doing things. He might be good, he might be not good. On the other hand, you see that every day the riots in America are becoming worse and worse. You don't know that can easily lead into a civil war in America, even when he is president. So I still stand by the idea that Jews should do Aliyah. That didn't change. The fact that Trump won or didn't win doesn't matter. Jews belong in Eretz Israel, and the more Jews are in Israel, the faster the redemption will come. So the point is to continue working and doing what we're supposed to do. It's working, and when every Jew in their own 4 amot will know that she is active and doing things, then that's what we need to do. And Bezrat Hashem should have. All I pray for is the Geulah to come nice. Bezrat Hashem, it's going to be very exciting. We're up to some serious action coming in, and Bezrat Hashem, it should only be good. Now we just have to wait and see.